on the American Dream Business Roundtable. And you know, Greg was talking about the differences between nonprofits and hybrids, the new hybrids. And I really want you to explain what these new hybrids are and how they're effectively going to come into our society as we know it today.
Well, they do exist.
Example?
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of any examples right now. What is stalling the whole evolution of these hybrids is an IRS edict. But generally, if we look at foundations, for example, foundations don't really do anything for the community at large directly. Foundations are a form of charitable nonprofit, but they provide resources, money, for other charities to carry out the work in the trenches, so to speak. Well, and foundations are getting worn out. They're tired of putting out money year after year to feed the poor, and isn't there something in between? Can we get some of that money back? And that's where they're leaning towards these hybrid organizations where the foundation can give money to this, let's use the example of the indoor farm. They can provide money to that indoor farm, get it off the ground, and make a little bit of profit back. Not the same amount that a profit organization would hope to bring in.
I want to ask you a question here, both of you. In New Jersey, and I used to work for the Children's Home, which is a nonprofit, we actually had a store, a retail store, which was a thrift store, that kids that were part of the school could actually go to work in the store, and we sold furniture and clothing and everything else, and so we were getting income in. We were also doing art programs that were bringing income in, that the kids actually made the artwork and sold it.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of programs I didn't set the one up for the thrift store, but I'm seeing more and more charities that are doing that.
Right. Looking for sustainability and job training.
Right.
So not just hand out money to people, but give them a leg up, help them to develop skills or knowledge that they can apply elsewhere. So,
well, that's what Goodwill's doing and Walmart's doing right now. I just did a radio show this morning that Goodwill and Walmart and the National Veterans Association have come together in certain states to come up with programs to retrain veterans for different positions and jobs. You guys should get to be part of that, because I think that we've got so many veterans that are coming back, or wounded warriors that are looking for training. I mean, these people are really good at what they do because they're very well trained in the military, right?
And motivated.
Smart
to, and dependable,
especially for franchises and everything else, right?
Absolutely.
So that could be an example of it, right?
Yeah, and as I said, almost any enterprise can be set up along any of these three different lines: profit, nonprofit, or hybrid. And we have to look at the motivations and what is it that the entrepreneur wants to accomplish. Do they want to leave a legacy, for example, and create something that right from the very beginning that'll be larger than themselves? Or do they need the income, or do they want the profits? I mean, you can still pull a salary. You set up a nonprofit and people donate to it. You have some underlying theme. Do you want to help people in Haiti, for example, or help develop the infrastructure in Africa? There's lots of good causes out there. But ultimately, it's the people who are leading the charge that are going to determine what path they go down, whether it's going to be profit, nonprofit, or hybrid.
I've never not worked for a nonprofit that you don't get paid.
Well, there are very many volunteer organizations.
Well, I know, and I know that. Like for instance, no, I know, but most of the nonprofits, I've either been the administrator or part of the development team for marketing, to going out and begging for money, or doing activities. But and I used to run an organization that had all volunteers,
Okay.
over in Bentwaters, where I ran a nonprofit thrift store that I reported to the base commander.
Oh, wow.
And the profits from that store helped pay for programs for children in the schools and bought computers and a lot of other things for the schools.
Well, that's great. There's all kinds of opportunities, and I would want to mention to our viewers that there's a list of nonprofits that are there to help us as entrepreneurs. SCORE is one of them.
Right.
Now we have to fight this feeling that when we get something for free, that it's that there's the value of something that's free. Well, as human beings, we tend to associate, if it's free, it's got to have very little value. And I think Excelsior and SCORE and a few other, Bad Girl Ventures is another nonprofit that's out there. There's a number of them in our community that are there to help entrepreneurs. But we have to get over this notion that just because it's free, it doesn't have value.
And how do you tell, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
how do you tell that nonprofit what Greg is saying? How do you sit down with them and let them know that even though the service is provided, you know, it means something? How do you do that with nonprofits?
So I don't think it's really that hard. It's explaining that it's possible to help them get where they want to go. You know, in my case, I don't think that's difficult at all because typically I'm charging. And so, you know, when I work with a nonprofit, it's either free or reduced, but it's the same quality. Right. So, you know, it's definitely got value, and, you know, if they're really questioning, I can tell them the dollar value of it. So
Right. I think it's important to know that. You know, what's the dollar value for me actually assisting you or mentoring you? Mm-hmm. And SCORE is a great one. SCORE is wonderful. I mean, to have someone that has all that knowledge that comes forward, and they're not all seniors.
Right.
They're different age groups that come and do this to really help that person to be able to move forward, right?
Right. I am a SCORE volunteer, but I've volunteered with many different nonprofits. And again, part of the reason is I want to give back. I was in the service. I was disabled while I was in the military, and as a result, the government paid my way through college, and I feel obliged to give back. I've acquired all this knowledge and information, and to be honest with you, and I think Michael will verify this, it's a shame that it isn't getting utilized as much as it really should.
Yeah.
We don't have enough clients. We don't have I mean, we just want to share the information and the knowledge, and
We have to get out there and market that.
yeah, well,
And that's actually what I do.
yes.
That's what I do. And on that note, we need to take a short break. Believe it or not, we're just moving
Wow.
through this like you wouldn't believe. Give your website again, please.
absolutely. BarnesBusinessCoaching.com.
And Greg?
The ExcelsiorInstitute.org, EXCELSIOR.
And don't forget to go to the Tri-State Connection. I need to give myself a little plug there
Boost, yeah,
too, right?
Sure.
And we'll be right back on the American Dream Business Roundtable right after these messages.